हर एक सोशल ग्रुप में एक ऐसा बंदा होता है who gets a lot more women than the other guys. You might have seen it in your social group, you might have seen it online, you might have seen me. So today I want to decode why some men get more women than other guys, and this is not something that you can see on the surface. So this is going to be definitely one of the most advanced and most important videos on the channel if you actually want to get to an advanced social skills level and you want to get to an advanced dating skills level as well. Hello bro, my name is Arunav and I've been a dating coach for the past decade, helping men like yourself get into a fulfilling relationship that you deserve. So if you're single, consider clicking the subscribe button. So today we're going to talk about why some men attract more women and what are the 9 key traits that actually trigger desire. Now you might have seen this all over. It might be in your friend circle, you might have seen a person you might know about who's attracting a lot more women than a normal man would. I'm going to decode each and everything that these guys do so that you can implement this in your own game and you can get at their level. Now you might be wondering, okay, why is this guy attracting a lot more women? Maybe he has a lot of money. Maybe he has good looks. Maybe he has social status. Maybe he's paying the girls. He's spending a lot of money. वही सारी चीजें लोगों के दिमाग में आती हैं, and that is because we are judging them. We are judging them and we are hating on them. Now what you need to understand is to do an analytical breakdown, अपने emotions को side रखना पड़ता है, and then we have to dive deep in exactly what they're doing. So I decoded 10 such men in my own social circle, including me, and I realized this is what we are doing right, which gets us more dates, more attractive women than possibly you. But once you start implementing all of this, I'm sure you're going to have an amazing experience with women. So सबसे पहले you need to be emotionally engaging. Now the difference I've seen with people who are good with women and the difference I've seen with people who are not that great with women is people who are good with women are generally emotionally engaging. Their conversations engage you emotionally, which means that you're invested in the conversation emotionally. So what I mean is you need to create an emotional momentum. You need to maintain an unpredictable, authentic, yet positive rhythm to keep her intrigued. Now understand what I mean by this. सबसे पहले आपको एक इमोशनल मोमेंटम बनाना पड़ेगा, मतलब आप जिस तरीके की कॉन्वर्जेशंस कर रहे हो, दे शुड बी मोर इमोशनल सो दैट यू आर मोर इन्वेस्टेड इन दोस कॉन्वर्जेशंस. इट शुड बी अ लिटिल बिट अनप्रेडिक्टेबल बिकॉज दैट क्रिएट्स दैट मिस्टीरियस एलिमेंट. Apart from that, you need to be authentic. You need to be your own self. You cannot fake it because if you start faking it, then the girl will figure it out and she is going to reject you. But you also need to have a positive rhythm to keep her intrigued. Now understand, gone are the days when you could neg girls, you could strip them of validation because of social media. Every girl is getting so much validation, तो अगर तुम जाके उनको एक negative compliment दे रहे हो या फिर negative comment कर रहे हो in the hopes that she's gonna get attracted to you, that's not going to happen. At least not in this day and age because of social media. Each and every girl, even if a girl is not that desirable, she's getting hit on by multiple men. Always make sure that you maintain a positive rhythm and you keep her intrigued, because the more intrigued you keep her, the more invested she's going to be in the conversation. Now, how can you keep her intrigued? There's many ways. Your storytelling skills, your facial expressions, the way you're communicating with her verbally and non-verbally. उस तरीके से आप उसको intrigued रख सकते हो, and when she's intrigued, once she's thinking about you, that means she's going to obsess over you. That is very important. That is what I've seen most men who are actually good with women do with women. They keep them intrigued. They have that mysterious element around them. Second thing is you need to lead with dynamic energy. Now what that means is you need to balance your intensity with warmth and you need to lead without chaos. Now what this means is if you're too intense, the girl is going to feel that, oh, this guy is too intense. If you're too energetic, the girl is probably not going to match up with your energy. So you need to balance your intensity with warmth. Now let me give you an example. If a girl is seated over there, you go up to her and you're like, hey, how's it going? You're high energy, but your intensity is low. So the girl, if she's having a bad day, she's not going to be able to match up to your energy levels. Now, once you balance your intensity with warmth, it seems something like this. Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. Now, with that, the girl is going to reciprocate in a positive manner because she's going to be able to relate with you. But if you have too high energy, if you are too intense, the girl is not going to be able to relate with you. So understand you need to tone it down a little bit and you need to balance those energies. Second thing that I've noticed with men who are especially good with women, exceptionally good with women, I would say, and I think this was my transition as well, from being good with women to being exceptionally good with women, was displaying social value. Now you need to understand, even when you're talking to someone, now to display social value, you need to understand the pre-selection effect. Now, social proof through genuine connections makes you far more desirable. Now, what that means is if you have social proof, for example, if you're talking to a girl, you go to a restaurant, maybe you've been a regular at the restaurant, maybe you know the waiter, you know the manager, you know everyone over there. That builds ultimate social proof. Now, the girl starts seeing you as a brand, like, oh, people know this guy, so this guy has social value. And that is actually very attractive. Now, there was an advanced concept that I learned back in the day, which was called farming, which was basically wherever you're going, have random conversations with random strangers, especially people who work there, so that you can build that ultimate social proof. If you want a step-by-step plan for farming, let me know in the comment section below. I'll share that concept with you guys. Probably make a video on it and show you exactly how it's done and how I did it. Now you need to also understand the power of social magnetism. Social magnetism is when you build a reputed social circle, which is also likable, that naturally attracts interest. So for example, if you have like good friends who actually care about you, friends who are likable, friends who are respected in the community, and you have a girl that you're dating, and you think that, okay, this is the time I should transition it from, probably an online date, probably the second, third date, to introducing her to my friends. Maybe this is a nice girl. Now, once you actually introduce her to a social circle which has all of these things, people who are respected, people who are likable, the girl is automatically going to get a little bit more attracted to you, because she is going to see the social dynamic in your social circle that men with respect or women with respect treat you with respect. Now, once that happens, it's social magnetism. She's automatically going to get more attracted to you. So, meko pata hai, this is a little bit of an advanced concept, especially for those guys who have not even started going out and approaching. For this, you need to approach. And building and displaying social value is very important if you want to get to an advanced level of social skills and dating. So you need to learn this, and to learn this, you must approach. Now, another thing that I've noticed is mastering emotional independence. Like, a person who's good with women, you'll see that he's emotionally independent. He does not have a group thinking. And apart from that, most people who are good with women, I've also seen that they have an unshakable presence. They stay calm and composed. They never emotionally depend on external validation. So this means that a person who's good with women will always have an unshakable presence, because he knows what values he brings on the table. He knows that all of this adversity, all of this rejection doesn't mean anything. So a person who's good with women also is a lot more numb to rejections. And that's what I realized happened with me. Like, I became so numb with rejections that I would go out with a client and probably get rejected brutally, and I wouldn't even feel anything. While the client would be like, hey man, I want to learn this kind of a mindset. How can you be so calm? The girl just said, like, I don't want to talk to you. It doesn't even affect you. And that's when I realized that, okay, I've built an unshakable presence. I'm calm and composed. I never emotionally depend on external validation. Now, this is one of the biggest things that happens to beginners who start out approaching, is that they're so dependent on the external validation that tum ladki approach karte ho, and if a girl gives you a wrong response, your state crashes and you're like, hey man, I don't want to do this. This is so hard. Meri city mein nahi hota hai sab. And then you come up with justifications. So you need to master emotional independence. मतलब emotionally independent हो जाओ, कोई भी चीज़ तुम्हारे emotions को हिला नहीं सकती. That is what you need to do. Another thing which I see wrong with a lot of people is they don't have a self-sufficient mindset. Especially, when I'm talking to people and I'm onboarding people to my coaching, I make sure that I'm only onboarding people who have a self-sufficient mindset, because a lot of people think that, okay, I'm going to go to the coaching, I'm going to meet some advanced level guy, he's going to take care of everything. Dating and social skills is not a teamwork game. It's not a team game. You need to understand no one can attract a girl for you. If you are attracted to a girl, you need to go there, talk to her, show her your personality, demonstrate the right value to get her attracted. But if you're like, hey, I need a wingman, I need to go out. And this is the worst mistake I see, especially in the Indian dating, social skills, pickup, whatever you want to say, community, is people are so dependent on each other. They have like bunch of groups. We have like 300, 400, 500 people, and they're all talking shit. You need to understand, if you want to take action, if you really want to get good at this, you need to believe in your own self, you need to be self-sufficient, prioritize your own goals and growth over approval-seeking behavior. Now, this also happens, when you're going out with a person and you're like, hey, are you going to do the first approach? Are you going to do the first approach? So you need to understand. And this also happens when I send two clients together and they're like, hey man, are you going to do the first approach, or will you show me the first approach? Why are you there? Are you there to do approaches for your own self so that you can develop your personality, or are you there to push someone to do the approaches? So this is what I tell my clients, and whoever onboards on my program, I make sure that the first 2 weeks or 1 week, they're doing it alone, because I don't want to build that dependency. And once that dependency is built, then doing it alone is extremely hard. You need to remove that dependency so it becomes extremely hard. Now, another behavioral pattern I noticed, especially in all of the people that I broke down, where they build mystery and intrigue, and me included. I mean, earlier I would just give so much power to a woman, especially if I'm talking to a really beautiful girl, she's giving me all sort of good reactions, I would just overinvest and give everything away. But the better I got with this, especially after doing this for a decade, I realized the major thing, which is don't give any woman so much power initially. Now, control transparency. Reveal parts of your life gradually, letting her uncover your world piece by piece. Now, I've seen a lot of my clients affected by this because the moment they're talking to a pretty girl, the moment they're talking to a beautiful girl, they're like, this is me, this is what I do, this is my ambition, this is my life goal. उससे क्या होता है कि लड़की को लगता है कि why is he selling himself so much? अगर उसको ये feeling आती है कि he's trying to sell himself so much, then she's not going to be interested because women want a guy that they can win over, not a guy who's just giving in and surrendering so easily. Then keep her guessing. Introduce surprises, unexpected adventures, or maintain curiosity. What this means, guys, you cannot be so predictable. अगर आप हर behavior pattern में बहुत predictable है, अगर आप लड़की से बात करें उसमें आपकी predictability आ रही है कि आप किस टाइम पे फ़ोन करेंगे, किस टाइम पे आप गुड मॉर्निंग गुड नाइट मैसेजेस भेज रहे हैं, उससे लड़की आपके behaviors predict कर पाएगी और आपकी value down हो जाएगी. तो आपको समझना पड़ेगा that if you want to increase your value in the woman's eye, you have to be unpredictable. You have to be acting from your own intent, and she cannot know about your moves. She cannot know about your moves. She cannot know about when you're going to text her, what you're going to say, which restaurant are you going to take her to. I mean, all of that unpredictability sort of creates intrigue, and the girl gets more invested. Now, another behavioral pattern I noticed in a lot of men that I was coaching, especially boot camps. I noticed this on boot camps because the people who would do exceptionally well on boot camps would be the people who would showcase strength and leadership. They would showcase strength and leadership in that initial interaction. What that means is they would have decision-making authority, they would take initiative in decisions, and they would show assertiveness without dominance. Now, another key trait I noticed, especially when I was giving boot camps, which is a life coaching program जहाँ पे मैं clients को लेके जा रहा हूँ field पे, which is a day game scenario or a night game scenario, the clients who got the most results, the most instant dates, were doing this thing correctly, which was showcasing strength and leadership. Now, what that means is they had decision-making authority, they were taking initiative in their decisions बहुत जल्दी बना रहे थे, and they were showing assertiveness. Now, I want to give you an example. All those guys who got bunch of instant dates during the program, they were very quick in their decision making. वो लड़की से बात करे, they're like, hey, why don't we just walk and talk? Hey, there's a coffee shop over there. They're taking the action, they're taking initiative and taking decisions, and you have to make very quick decisions if you want to be good with women, because when you're talking to a woman, there might be certain objections that she might have. There might be certain things that you have to take the lead, because if you don't take the lead, the woman is not going to take the responsibility off your shoulders. Understand this, woman has a lot more to lose than a man when they're interacting, when they're communicating, especially when it comes to attraction. So they're not going to take the responsibility off your shoulders. In fact, you have to do quite the opposite. You have to take the responsibility off their shoulders, lead them to an intimate direction. Now, this brings me to the next quality if you want to showcase your strength and leadership is life navigator. Be like a life navigator. Be someone who she can trust to guide both personal and shared experiences. Now, for this, you need to understand, you need to first be leading. Whenever you're talking to a girl, you need to lead the interaction, you need to lead the conversational frame also. Conversation कहाँ जा रही है, वो भी तुम्हें lead करना पड़ेगा. And if it is not going somewhere where you want it to go, you need to twist it and turn it around. Apart from this, you need to project the right kind of image in her head. If you project an image in her head that you don't have your life sorted, you're a guy who's unstable, then she's not going to believe that you're a life navigator. She's not going to believe that you're a guy who she can trust to guide both personal and shared experiences. So make sure that you project that kind of an image where she feels that you're a centered guy. You're not a guy who's emotionally wavy. Now, apart from that, the biggest common trait that I see with men who are actually good with women, which might shock you completely, is that they don't chase after women. They prioritize their personal growth above everything else. Now, you need to understand that vision-driven mentality is very attractive for women. So you need to have a clear mission that drives your life beyond the relationship. Because if your center of your universe is the relationship, then you become needy, you lose your value, the girl treats you like shit. And look at it from a simple economical basis. If there's too much supply and there's so less demand, what is going to happen? The price is going to drop. So simple, your value drops. Now also when you're prioritizing your personal growth above everything else, your status progression is happening, which means you're continuously leveling up in your career, in your health, and in your social influence. This is what you need to do if you want to be in the 0.05% of men who attract women effortlessly and attract high quality women effortlessly without even chasing them. You need to understand most of the guys who think about game philosophy, और ये मेरी भी गलती थी जब मैंने शुरू किया था, is when you learn about all of this, you're like, okay, I have a good cheat code to chase women, to get women. But that's not what it is. When you get to the advanced levels, you realize it's more about making them chase you. एक और बहुत मेजर चीज़ जो मैंने अपने बिहेवियर पैटर्न में नोटिस करी है और काफ़ी लोगों के बिहेवियर पैटर्न्स में नोटिस करी है, वो वेरी गुड विद वुमेन. इनिशियली व्हेन आई डिड नॉट हैव दैट मच एक्सपीरियंस, जब मैंने इतनी लड़कियों से बात नहीं करी थी, आई डिडंट हैव एनी बाउंड्रीज. कोई लड़की कुछ भी करती थी, शी वुड हैव कम टू माई प्लेस, शी वुड हैव स्टेड ओवर फॉर 3 days, आई डिड नॉट मच केयर क्योंकि मेरे को लगता था कि अगर मैं इसको कुछ बोलूँगा probably she's gonna leave me and probably she's never gonna talk to me. और वो scarce mindset था एक. Now it's been a decade of doing this stuff, so I think one major thing is maintaining healthy boundaries. Maintaining healthy boundaries with the girls you're dating, with the friends that you have, because it's very important. Having some non-negotiable standards and clearly communicating your values with a respectful way. Because ज़्यादातर लोग क्या होते हैं कि उनके non-negotiable कुछ standards होते हैं, but they're like, मेरे को यही करना है, मैं यही करना चाहता हूँ, so this is what I want to do, so please don't step on my toes. But that's not the respectful way to communicate your values and your boundaries. So initially I have small boundaries like you're not allowed to smoke in my car, you're not allowed to wear shoes in my studio. So if a girl is coming and initially I'd be very respectful, hey, would you please take off your shoes, right? Something like that. I don't like shoes in my studio. And she's like, no, I want to wear them. Then I explain why it's bad. But if he steps on my boundary, then I'd be like, hey, please don't do that. That's going to make me a little bit aggressive and pissed off. And I don't want to be pissed off at you. You're a sweet person. This is how you communicate your values in a respectful way. I can make a complete video on this because this is actually a pretty deep topic. So let me know if you want it in the comment section below. I know some of you said that in the last video, but I'll only do it if I get at least 10 people who want to know about how to maintain healthy boundaries. You also need to understand about the mutual respect framework, which means that you need to balance your compassion with firmness. You cannot be so firm that the girl is like, hey, this guy is crazy, this guy is angry and stupid and frustrated. Rather, you need to balance it with compassion, like I just showed you, to build mutual understanding. Because if there's no mutual understanding, if you disrespect her and she disrespects you, then what happens is that boundary is gone from the relationship. Then that relationship can become a toxic relationship where you guys keep on disrespecting each other. So when that happens, that needs to end, guys. So that's why it's very important to have mutual understanding, and it's very important not to cross that boundary of respect. Also, I've noticed this behavior pattern with people who are extremely good with women is they embrace social charisma. When they're social, when they're out in a social scenario, they command presence. They lead conversations confidently while making her feel heard. So whenever you're talking to a girl, it's not like the girl is deciding कि conversation कहाँ जा रही है. It's your job as a man to take that conversation frame, change it if you want to change it, and take it to a direction where you want it to take it. अगर तुम्हें skill सीखने हैं how to control the conversation frame, I have made that video on how women want you to talk to them. I'll add that link over here, you can check it out. Now with the conversations, you also need to learn about adaptive charm. You need to adjust communication style based on context while staying authentic. What that means is you need to adjust your communication according to the emotional wavelength of the conversation. Conversation में दूसरी लड़की क्या emotions feel कर रही है. According to that, you need to adjust your communication, whether you're being too intense or less intense, depending on how she's feeling and what she's going through. But with that being said, you cannot fake it because you need to be authentic. Authentic का simple मतलब है कि तुम्हारे जो thoughts हों और तुम्हारे जो words हों और तुम्हारे जो actions हों वो aligned होने चाहिए. मतलब अगर तुम्हारे thoughts हैं that you're afraid of the girl, that you're afraid of rejection, और तुम्हारे actions और तुम्हारे words हैं कि तुम confidence दिखा रहे हो, the girl is going to understand it because women have a sixth sense for spotting fake behavior. But you also need to be authentic. Now, how do you do that? Is by practice. The more you practice, the more you go out, the more women you talk to, the more you can adjust your communication while staying authentic. तुम authentic रह के अपनी communication change कर सकते हो. And the biggest component which guys who are good with women build over time is being intrinsically confident, which means that they have a self-validation protocol. They only rely on inner confidence to draw state. They don't rely on external approval for self-worth. And the biggest common behavioral pattern that I've seen that people who are good with women build over time is they be intrinsically confident, which means that they have a self-validation protocol. तो इसका ये मतलब है अगर तुम्हें लड़कियों के साथ सच्ची में अच्छा होना है, first you need to understand your self-worth. And for this I give an activity to all my clients, which is write down 10 things, write down 10 values that you can offer to a girl if she's in your life. And these things have to be completely non-monetary because you don't want the girl based on monetary stuff. You want the girl based on your personality and your own self-worth. And what I also realized in my own journey, the first year was kind of very bad for me. This was back in 2012. I was doing the approaches, I was talking to people. I was getting rejected, but it was taking an extreme hit on my self-worth. I used to come back home and I used to be extremely depressed, extremely anxious. I was still a lot better with women than a year before, but because of so many rejections, it was taking a hit on my self-worth. And that's when I realized, why is it doing that? Why am I worrying so much if I have to approach these girls? Because in the first year of learning this, I approached probably like 800 to 1,000 women in a month's time. So if you consider a year's time, it was probably 12,000 women. But initially I got rejected 95% of the times. That was the reality because no one was there to teach me. There was not a lot of content available. But the problem was not the rejections. What the problem was how personally I was taking those rejections and how much outcome dependent I was. क्योंकि मैं जो reject भी मेरे को कर रही होती थी उसके बारे में इतना ही stress लेता था with a girl who's not rejecting me. So with each and every approach, I would take so much stress in my head. Am I impressing the girl? Am I saying the right things? Am I going to get the number? And 95% were rejections. So that's when I realized that I'm playing a wrong game. I came home, I was extremely anxious at that point in time, and I was like, okay, let me ask, why do I hate this stuff? Like, I'm still doing this because I know there's no option. I have to do this. I want to learn this. But why do I hate this? Why do I hate going out every day and talking to women? Because I'm getting rejected. Why am I getting rejected? Because I want something out of them. I want them to give me a good response or laugh at my jokes. It can be as little as that. So another thing you need to understand is you need to let it go. You need to let the outcome go. You're not doing it to get the woman. You're doing it for your own self, to become a better person, to become a more social person. Another thing I started noticing when I got good with women, when I decided that I'm not going to be outcome dependent, is I would give them silent assurances, which means that with my actions, I would showcase confidence without verbal reassurance, without actually trying to be over cocky or trying to show that I'm confident just with my words. I was actually doing it with the body language and the sub-communications more. So if you see my old infields, back in 2013, 2014, and if you see my infields after that, you will realize that, it's more about silent assurances. Initially, it would be more flashy because I was saying a lot of shit to show that I'm confident. But as it went on, it became very normal and effortless. So that's what happens when you do a decade of social skills, approaching and dating, because all of your non-verbal communications completely transforms.